All right, next morning, and we are just leaving Bobby's Fish Camp. Uh, Stayed there for a day, picked up some fuel, kind of plotted my next move, and I figured we could probably make it into Mobile, Alabama today, which would be the end of the river trips and the beginning of getting back into the intercoastal, getting into saltwater and getting into tides, high and low, checking them every day now. Uh, After we got past the last lock is when the tides actually were going up and down. As long as you have a lock, they can control the water level. So now that we're on past our last lock, it's all brackish and salt water. So it does have tides now. So we have to watch where we drop anchor, make sure we don't drop in too shallow of water and then end up grounding at low tide. So, uh, which happens to me a couple of times that I forgot to check whether the tide was high or low, and I just dropped anchor in about 3 4 feet, then realized it was low tide or it was high tide. By the time low tide came along, I was sitting on the bottom. Couldn't do anything. I had to sit there and wait for high tide to come back up so I could move on. But anyway, that's some of the mistakes some people make. You just, sometimes you don't even think about it, and when you're out in, salt water like that, where the tides can affect how deep and how low the water is, you have to be careful. But anyway, living in Florida, you would think I would learn, hey, check your tide before you drop anchor, but that was just a stupid little mistake on my part. But anyway, we're moving on. Uh, so far, if everything goes all right, we should be in Mobile, Alabama, later on today. It's been a very quiet, uneventful trip. As you can see, the waters are real nice and smooth, uh, and traveling at the averaging right at about 12 to 13 miles an hour. It's pretty nice, pretty comfortable. Motor's been running real nice. Very happy with it. Uh, when I first started the trip, I wasn't too sure about uh, whether a 90 horsepower outboard motor could actually make a 5,500-mile run without having issues. Uh, I did have some issues with it. I had the lower unit go out on me. Uh, but I did run aground a couple of times, so I might have just jarred the washer. There's some rubber O-rings in there that keep water from going into the lower unit and destroying the lower gears, or leaking out the oil that's in the lower unit and then ruining the lower unit. So I don't know whether it was me or not. Either way, that's the only problem I've had so far. Uh, the engine itself, as far as the motor itself, has been running beautiful. Uh, it's by the time I get to back to Tampa, it's going to be pretty close to the getting the 300-mile service done again. And that's one thing I kind of did enjoy about having an E-Tech outboard motor, was the fact that they service every 300 hours and not every 100 hours like other manufacturers do. Uh, Also, I don't know if you're familiar with the E-Tech motors, but they're two-stroke engines, but they're fuel injected and oil injected. So there's really not a whole lot you have to worry about it. It does have less parts than a four-stroke engine. Uh, as far as being quiet, it's a little bit noisier than a four-stroke, but it's not where you can't comfortably just speak and have a nice conversation when the motor's running. You can still do that and enjoy the trip. It's not that loud. It's a little bit louder, like I said, than a four-stroke, but it's still nice. Um, Here we are actually coming up to the bridge. What I would consider, once going underneath this bridge, I'm in Mobile, Alabama. So the whole trip's been pretty good. Everything's running fine. and I would imagine I have probably another hour, hour and a half to get to the marina that I want to get to. There's a marina on the west side of Mobile Bay. It's called Turner Marina. Um, that other Sea Dory that was with me over there at Bobby's Fish Camp is still with me. She's still following me. And he's going to stop at Turner Marina. That's where he wanted to go. So I figured, well, I might as well go with him since I don't know exactly where I was going to go anyway. So I set my GPS and my maps to go to Turner Marina, and then I'll figure out what to do when I get there. Everything so far, like I said, has been running nice and smooth. Been a very enjoyable trip. I consider getting to Mobile, Alabama as my last leg or stretch of the Great Loop, and almost to the finishing line. So uh, all in all, what I want to do or say about this trip, I've loved every part of it. Uh, would I do it again? Maybe so, depending on the circumstances. Maybe a little bit different boat, maybe with a little bit more options to the boat. Not necessarily a whole lot bigger. Uh, this was pretty comfortable, but I wouldn't mind having a full standing head and shower, I think, is what I really miss the most. That's one of the reasons why I normally had to use or stay at a marina every at least 2 to 3 times during the week, so that I could have access to the showers, be able to walk around, pick up fuel, walk around the little town or wherever I may be at, get to see stuff here and there. Uh, but if I had a little bit bigger boat that, like I said, had a shower and a toilet, I wouldn't necessarily have to stop as often in a marina. I could stop maybe just once or twice a week, basically just to pick up fuel and to do a pump out of the boat and fill up back with water. So, but all in all, it was still an enjoyable trip. Like I said, I've always called, doing the Great Loop with this size boat, this 22 footer. I kind of call it like I'm camping out doing the Great Loop, where the other boats, as have you seen, I've run into that are doing the Great Loop, they're quite a bit bigger. They go all the way up to 40, 45 foot. I think the next smallest one I had seen was a 28 footer, besides the 22-foot Sea Dory that's following me now. There was all the other ones were about, I don't know, 28 feet, worked their way up. I think like I said, if I was to do it again, probably choose something like within a 28 foot, 26 foot range boat. Uh, but so far, again, here we are getting underneath the bridge here, and now I consider myself in Mobile, Alabama. Still on the Mobile River for a little while, but by the time we do a stop, we'll be right on the edge of we'll actually be in Mobile Bay when we stop off at Turner's Marina. The other Sea Dory that's following me up here, I think he's making his stop here in Mobile, Alabama, and he's going to go home for a while. He's I guess leaving it there and then going home for a little while, and I don't know. He hasn't really mentioned what he's going to do, plans of what he's going to do, but so he won't be following me out of here when I get out of here in a couple of days, depending on weather permitting when I take off. But uh, Mobile, as you can see here, this is all industrial area here. There's still tons of barges around here and tons of tugboats all over the place here. So this is probably their main stop here, because from here it's all open water into the Gulf. So I'm not sure that these tugs actually go all the way out that way, but if they do, I guess they could if they wanted to, but I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on that. But Mobile, Alabama was pretty nice. You can see here, there's, looks like there's two towers that look identical to themselves here, and they're right smack downtown. So once I get to those things there, I kind of figure, okay, I'm in downtown Mobile, Alabama. I still got quite a ways to go to get on the other side. I want to mention, though, that by the time you're seeing this film here, I've actually already have finished the loop. It's just I got behind on doing my videos, but I am going to finish the videos all the way till the end, till I get into the bay, Tampa Bay, and taking the boat out of the water. So the reason, it's just I've gotten behind on my videos and the editing and all of that. When I got home, I was kind of tired. It took me a while to recoup, but I did make it home, and I am going to post the rest of the films, which is probably about 3 more, maybe 4 more, and then I'll be home. But as we speak right now, I am home already. I did finish the loop. Just trying to finish up the videos so that I can, post everything on YouTube about completing the Great Loop from beginning to end. I went ahead and did it all. So it's been enjoyable. I loved it. It's been beautiful as far as, it had its ups and downs, but a lot more ups than downs. And that's kind of the way you have to look at things. There's always good and bad in everything, in any situation. But if you have a lot better times than you do bad times, then all in all, it still was well worth it. For me, it was still well worth it. I kind of did not figure out on what my fuel cost was going to be, which considerably doubled my fuel that I was expecting to pay on the route. But all in all, I still enjoyed it. Still had a good trip. Now we're going through Mobile now, Alabama here. We'll be stopping off at Turner Marinas. According to the weather, there's a small gust of winds that are going to start picking up starting later on this afternoon. So don't know if I'm actually going to be able to stay in, or whether I'm going to be leaving tomorrow or not. It all really depends on what the weather's like. And I'll know later on tonight when I tie up at the marina, and I'll be able to check. This marina is right outside the river. It's right at the edge of the river and the bay, so I can look at the bay from where I'm at and kind of tell, is it nice and smooth, or is it pretty choppy, or what am I going to do? I do have to go from the west side of the bay to the east side of the bay. My next mark when I leave Mobile is going to be Gulfport, and or I'm sorry, not Gulfport, but Gulf Shores, Alabama, which is just on the other side of the bay. I want to try and cross the bay and then maybe just go a few miles past that on the Florida ditch, what they call the Florida ditch. And that's part of the intercoastal that takes you out all the way out toward Carabel. Carabel is the furthest point you can go on the intercoastal. From there, you have to go out into the Gulf, and that's where you have to decide how far out in the Gulf you're going to go. I'm kind of limited because of my fuel. I'm kind of limited, and I don't want to travel at night or have to drop anchor anywhere out in the Gulf in the middle of the night. So my plan is to go across and get to the closest place I can get to on the other side of Apalachicola, which by my map, according to my map, it would be Stachahachie, Florida. So it's about a 70-80 mile run across the Gulf. Again, you're going to have to pick your day because the Gulf can get bad, pretty rough. So just going to have to watch my days and see, when I get a good day, take off and get across. But other than that, everything else looks pretty good. As far as making it, up to Turner Marina, as long as everything runs okay, I should be okay. Here we are going through the city of Mobile. You can see big towers there. There's two of them that are identical right there next to each other. You can see them there. Uh, they're same design, same built as everything. So for some reason they decided one wasn't good enough. They had to have two of them. So they put two of them up there. Anyway, here we go. We're still going down the river. As you can see, it's a beautiful day, nice day. We're moving along pretty good. Just trying to, you know, get there and, as peacefully as we can. So, beautiful view. Really haven't seen anything that I would say I'm gonna pull over and stop and kind of walk around or anything. Not sure exactly what this building is next to us there that we're going through, but looks pretty nice. Pretty interesting building. Uh, a lot of this so far, though, has all been mainly industrial, commercial waterfront, where, I guess industry demands that you have, the use of the water with barges and everything else. Here we are. We've gone ahead and made it to Parker's Marina. I'm not actually at Parker's Marina. I'm right next door to Parker's Marina. They had fuel here, and they had a little bit better rate as far as just tying up. And while I was here, I happened to notice there's a barge, or there was a riverboat here. I'm not sure that it was actually running or not. It looked kind of like nobody's been using it. Kind of could use a good cleaning. But it was interesting because I was able to get real close to it and film it. You can see, a lot of tables and stuff on the inside. So they must have carried people up and down the river, I guess. That's what it was built for, I guess. But pretty interesting. Be a nice project for somebody to rebuild and put her back in the water again. But it was the first one I was able to get close enough to that I could film. I saw others, as I was making the trip and everything, but this particular one, I figured it was so close. As you can see my boat there in between the other ones. Now these other guys, these two other boats that are next to me, they're on the Great Loop also. And you can see the difference as far as, as I call it, I'm camping on the Great Loop, and these guys are on a condo on the Great Loop. So, but it's still good. Still enjoying my trip. I could imagine, or I can't imagine, what kind of fuel rate and what it's costing these guys to make the trip. All in all, I've kind of figured it out. It's going to roughly end up costing me about $21,000, maybe $22,000 by the time I get done. And I'm doing it on a 22-foot Sea Dory. So it wasn't as cheap as I thought it was going to be. I only thought I was going to spend between $10,000 and $12,000. I know part of the reasons why I went over was my fuel. I had anticipated my fuel to be at $5,000 to $6,000. That turned out to be almost $11,000 to $12,000 in fuel alone. So that was actually my whole budget when I started on the trip, and I went through that when I got to Wisconsin. So I figured, well, I was about halfway. I already gone through my allotted budget, so good thing. Called the bank, had some money transferred over, and was able to continue my trip. I didn't just take off and not have a contingency plan in case I got in trouble and I needed it. I had actually put enough money away that if I had to put a new motor on the boat, I would have done so. And I had that kind of money sitting there to, in case this motor gave out. I wasn't just going to stop on the trip. I really wanted to make sure I finished it. So here we are sitting at the marina, and I actually sat here for about 2 or 3 days. The wind was blowing pretty hard, and all 2 days, 3 days that I was here, and I decided finally when it calmed down a little bit. You can see the wind still blowing on that flag there, but it's not as bad as it was the last 2 days. It was actually a little bit worse the last 2 days. According to the weather, seas or the bay is not too bad. They're predicting 1 to 2 feet seas, so that's not too bad. Even if it gets up to 2 feet, it's still pretty good. They're manageable. I could still not go as fast as I want to go, but I could still go across comfortably without feeling that I'm gonna that I wouldn't be able to handle it. I've been through 2 foot seas before. It's fine. It's not as fast as I want to go. I have to slow it down, but it's still manageable. You can still work it. So I've decided, yeah, I've been here a couple days already. I did happen to go to, there's a couple restaurants right across the river here that I did go over there and have some dinner and lunch, and it was pretty nice. I enjoyed my stay here in Mobile. Very beautiful town. I did get an Uber, and I went into to a grocery store and got some groceries. Then I took an Uber again to go in and grab something to eat at a restaurant somewhere. And then we came back. The gentleman on the other sea, Dory, he stayed here. He was going to fly back home for a while, and his boat was going to stay here at Turner's Marina. So we went ahead and said our goodbyes, and he went home, and here I am on my own again, trying to finish the trip, or not trying to finish the trip, but let's say on my own again on the trip. I do run into a lot of people on the loop, and they're all, because I'm traveling a little bit faster than they all. I kind of don't spend like maybe only a day or two with them. Some of these guys will spend weeks and months together because they're traveling at the same speed, so they keep running into each other. And then they both, a lot of them also look up, see where's the best rates on the marinas, where to stay, or what the American Greatloop Association recommends, what marinas, and where's the good gas prices, and what to avoid, what not to avoid. So a lot of that information you find in there is for the bigger boats. Not necessarily for mine, because I only draw 18 inches with the motor up. I mean, I can drop anchor anywhere I really want. Don't have to worry about it. I can go into little coves and little rivers, little creeks that they can't go into to shelter myself from weather and stuff. So here we are on the Mobile River, and as soon as you get past that bridge you see up there, that's where I'll be out on the bay. And it's supposed to be good weather. Gonna find out, I guess, but our shot here now is to take off from Mobile here and go across the bay into Gulf Shores, which is a little town just on the other side of Mobile, Alabama. Plan to stop there and maybe grab something to eat. Should be about maybe, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I want to plan to stop there at a restaurant that they recommended, and I'm going to have lunch. And then I'll probably travel maybe another couple of hours, maybe 3 hours or something like that. Not sure exactly how many hours. Like I said, when I'm on the trip, time is not that big of a deal for me. It's just whenever I get a chance. If I want to stop, I stop. If I want to keep going, I keep going. And that's the beauty of it, is you're not on a schedule to be anywhere at any time. So that's what gives me the flexibility to kind of putt along as I want to, go as fast or go as slow as I need to be. But I will be posting the rest of these trips all the way up till I get up to to the boat ramp where I actually load the boat back on my trailer and finally make the great loop with it. Is it a good boat? It turned out to be better than I expected boat, in my opinion. I wouldn't have any qualms about using a sea dory to do the great loop if I had a choice, though. The 25 footer versus the 22 footer. The 25 footer has its own private little room for a head, which you can put either a regular marine toilet in it or use a porta potty. But it also has the capability of giving you a shower. You can take a shower on there too. The tanks are bigger water storage. I only stored 20 gallons is what I could carry of water. But I really never used that. I think I only filled up my tank two times, I think, is all I filled it up while I was making the trip. I mean, it was full when I left, and I ended up filling it up a couple more times. So here we are going out, and like I said, as soon as you go past this bridge right here, you'll be out on the bay. One of the restaurants I enjoyed was right there to the right of us, as you can see that brown building there. Good seafood. They're known for their good wings, actually. And I did have some of their wings, and they were pretty good. So, as you can see, open water here. It's not really open. That's the bay. There's land out there somewhere, so we'll be going out toward there, and hopefully the waters will be manageable enough where we're going to be able to cross without any problems. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and continue going here, and we're going to go across the bay, and our next stop should be Gulf Shores. It looks like the water's not too bad, and we're going to keep going until for some reason we feel, hey, not a good day, we're going to turn around and come back. You can see the boat starting to kind of bounce a little bit, and that's because we're getting out into the open water now. You're no longer in the river, and it's always a little bit choppier. And of course, all the water is channeling in to the river here, so that's where you're going to have, your wakes and rough water because they're all trying to come in at the same time, the wakes and all that. But here we are heading out to Gulf Shores, and hopefully we'll be starting out. You'll post my next video here shortly again. Like I said, I'm going to try and finish this up so that you can have the complete trip all the way from beginning to end. Everything went fine, and enjoyed the trip. It's a once in a lifetime adventure, in my opinion. Would I do it again? Probably would in the right circumstances. I might take my time a little bit, or maybe stop in a little bit more places than I did this time around. But anyway, we're getting to the end here, and next stop we'll be showing is probably going to be from Gulf Shores. Water's starting to come up a little bit, but I did expect it to be, like I said, 1 to 2 foot seas, so the boat can easily handle that. So until next time, here we go.